John Trudell, and you're watching GVTV News. So watch, and learn.
Thanks, John, and I'm Randy Hansen. In today's World News headlines, House okays Farm Bill with $8.6 billion in food stamp cuts. And a study says fair minimum wage double Obama-backed $10.10. And Clapper calls on Snowden and accomplices to return stolen docs. And Snowden nominated for Nobel Peace Prize. And a leak says NSA spied on foreign governments around 2009 climate summit. And Eric Holder, the thief, says bulk collection constitutional, but will be reformed. And terror suspect challenges evidence collected by the NSA. And UN envoy says ICE is breaking slowly in Syria peace talks. And European Union to expand Cuba ties. And CIA paid Polish intel $15 million for secret prison. And Marine faces retrial for 2006 Haditha killing. And Missouri executes death row prisoner after brief stay. A New York Congress member apologized after threatening reporter on camera. GVTV News is broadcast on Grass Valley Television, division of Rural Counties Television Network, whose focus is on community involvement. We also air on NCTV, finally. And before these stories, GVTV News would like to thank one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. Today's first world news story. Republican-controlled House has approved a long-stalled farm bill that would continue heavy subsidies for crops like corn and soybeans, while seeing a major cut in food stamps for those in need. The bill would end billions of dollars in direct payments to farmers while expanding government-subsidized crop insurance. The additional $8.6 billion in food stamp cuts follows a $5 billion cut in November. The move will slash food aid for many families about $90 per month. The plan represents a compromise between Republican plan to cut food stamps by $39 billion and Democratic one to cut them for $4 billion. The Congressional Progressive Caucus urged members to vote against the bill, but overall 89 Democrats joined with the Republican majority. Both the Senate and President Obama are expected to endorse the measure. And President Obama hit the road Wednesday, one day after his State of the Union vow to take executive action should Republicans thwart his efforts on economic progress. Speaking in a Costco store in Maryland, Obama touted his plan to boost the minimum wage for federal contractors to 10.10 cents an hour. He said, "Now some of my ideas I'll need Congress, but America can't stand still when Congress isn't doing anything. I'm not going to stand still either." Well, I always funny about this story, but I always thought that it was the Senate that blocks everything and hasn't been doing anything. Congress has been pretty busy. Obama is also backing a congressional bill that would raise minimum wage for all Americans to 10.10%, but a new analysis from the Center of Economic Policy Research says that if the minimum wage were kept in line with productivity gains since 1968, it would be more than double that amount at $21.72 an hour. Director of National Intelligence James Clapper has launched a new attack on whistleblower Edward Snowden. Speaking before the Senate Intelligence Committee, Clapper called on Snowden to return all stolen documents to the National Security Agency after causing what he called major harm to U.S. security. Clapper also suggested that the journalists who have published Snowden's leaks are his accomplices, and said Snowden claims that he's won and that his mission is accomplished. If that is so, I call on him and his accomplices to facilitate the return of the remaining stolen documents that have not yet been exposed to prevent even more damage to the U.S. security. But what I do want to speak to as the nation's senior intelligence officer is the profound damage that his disclosures have caused and continue to cause. As a consequence, the nation is less safe, its people less secure. What Snowden has stolen and exposed has gone way beyond his professed concerns with so-called domestic surveillance programs. Snowden has repeatedly maintained he's no longer in possession of any of the documents he took from the NSA, having passed them on to journalists to report at their discretion. Clapper was appearing before the same panel he was caught lying last year about the deliberate collection of Americans' personal information. Whistleblower Edward Snowden was honored Wednesday with his second nomination for the Nobel Peace Prize. Two Swedish lawmakers say they tapped Snowden for whistleblowing that has contributed to more stable and peaceful world order. In the latest Edward Snowden disclosures, Huffington Post reports National Security Agency spied on foreign governments before and during the 2009 UN Climate Summit in Copenhagen. An internal NSA document says its analysts and foreign partners briefed U.S. negotiators on other countries. Preparations and goals, saying that signal intelligence will undoubtedly play a significant role in keeping our negotiators as well as informed as possible through the two-week event. NSA has declined to comment on these last revelations. 2009 Copenhagen Summit ended in failure after world polluters would not agree to binding follow-up of the Kyoto Protocol. Also testifying in Wednesday's Senate hearing, Attorney General Eric Holder, the thief, said he believes the bulk collection of phone records by the NSA is constitutional but will still be reformed on orders of President Obama. He said, "I'd say that 15 judges in the FISA court, Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, by the way, 2 judges, one in California, one in New York, have looked at the question and made the determination that the 215 program is, in fact, constitutional. One judge in Washington, D.C. has decided it is not. But I think that really only deals with the one half of the question. I believe that they are correct. It is constitutional. It is an appropriate use in the constitutional sense of the government power. But the question is, as the president has posed to us, just because we can do something, should we do it?" Terror suspect facing trial in the United States is challenging the government's efforts to use evidence obtained by the NSA. Jasheed Mutarov is accused of providing material support for the Uzbek terrorist group in Afghanistan. A new court filing, the American Civil Liberties Union, says the government should not be allowed to use communications that were obtained without proper court review. Mukhtarov is the first defendant to challenge the 2008 law that authorizes government collection of personal information from phone and internet providers when the target is thought to be overseas. Syrian peace conference is in its final rounds of talks before wrapping up on Friday. UN envoy Lakhdar Brahimi says the Assad regime and members of the Syrian opposition have made little progress but called for patience. He said, "I do not expect that we will achieve anything substantive. I am very happy that we are still talking and the ice is breaking slowly, but it is breaking, and we'll separate on Friday and discuss what we will do when we resume. I am not disappointed because I did not expect any results the first time. This is exactly what I thought we would do, just talk to one another and also agree that we will continue talking to one another." Friday's talks will focus on setting up follow-up for the next round of negotiations. Two sides remain deadlocked over the role of Bashar al-Assad in future transitional government. European Union is poised to deepen its ties with Cuba. According to Reuters, EU foreign ministers will agree next month to launch talks on a pact that will boost trade and investments with Cuba, as well as increase dialogue on human rights. In the past, the United States has put pressure on Europe to increase Cuba's isolation. The United States has maintained an embargo against Cuba since 1962. New details have emerged on Bush-era secret CIA jail used to hold and torture foreign prisoners in Poland. The Washington Post reports the CIA gave Polish counterparts $15 million in cash for use of a prison in 2003. 2 interrogators who worked in the prison were removed from Poland after carrying out a mock execution on a prisoner. Polish government is probing its own hosting of the site. Just the case has lagged for years without results. A U.S. Marine whose conviction was overturned in 2006 killing of an Iraqi civilian is facing a new trial. Sergeant Lawrence Hutchins has been the only one of 7 U.S. service members involved in the recent murder conviction. He served 6 years in prison before being freed after an appeals court ruled prosecutors used inadmissible evidence. The victim, Hashim Ibrahim Awad, was dragged from his home in the town of Haditha, shot, and then planted with a weapon to make it appear that he was planning an attack. Marine Corps says Hutchins will now be retried on the same charges. Missouri has executed a death row prisoner just 24 hours after the U.S. Supreme Court granted him a stay. Herbert Smalls was sentenced to death for 1991 murder of a jewelry store owner. His attorney had won a delay after arguing Missouri should be forced to name the compounding pharmacy used to produce the execution drug, which is not subject to the federal oversight. But the Supreme Court followed up by denying all of Smalls' appeals, clearing the way for his death. Missouri began using a new execution drug last year after a drug manufacturer stopped making the state's long-running three-drug combination. New York Congressmember has apologized after being caught on tape threatening a television reporter's life. In an interview following Tuesday night's State of the Union, Republican Representative Michael Grimm lashed out at New York One's Michael Scotto for questioning him about alleged campaign finance violations. Grimm initially refused NY1's demand for an apology, saying he had done the network a favor by rushing to do their interview in lieu of several other requests. But he later issued a statement saying he called Scotto personally to express regret. Other reporters have now come forward to claim prior instances of Grimm's verbal abuses. That's it for World News Today. Now another thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us. GVTV News.
Soundcheck Music Center, the rock and roll connection. We have guitars, amps, drum equipment, sound accessories, lessons, and repairs. We are located at 671 Maltman Drive, Grass Valley. 530-272-7236, open 7 days a week.
No one needs anyone, they don't even just pretend. Jonas in America. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't.
That's right, it's time for the police blotter, and pictures in the blotter not from these actual events but used for visual aid only. These daily logs are issued from Nevada County Law Enforcement. Grass Valley Police Department on Wednesday, 10:40 a.m. A caller from 500 block of Doris Drive reported theft of a phone and other items from an unlocked vehicle. Notice the word unlocked. 12:09 p.m. a caller from 500 block of Butler Street reported hearing several gunshots. Nothing was located. And 4:34 p.m. a caller from Old Tunnel and Brunswick Roads reported a man lying in the middle of the street. And 5:36 p.m. a caller from 100 block of Catherine Lynn reported a person drove a vehicle into a cement wall and left the vehicle behind. Wonder why. 5:44 p.m. a caller from 200 block of Helen Drive requested extra patrols due to recent theft of a snowboard. And 6:34 p.m. a caller from 200 block of Sierra College Drive reported a vehicle hit a pedestrian. 6:31 p.m. a caller from 600 block of Sutton Way reported that a highly intoxicated man drove away from a store. He could not be located. And Thursday, 3:26 a.m. caller from 2000 block on Nevada City Highway reported a physical fight with a woman throwing rocks at a vehicle and then swinging at a man. Then the woman was throwing rocks and the man was chasing her. A report was taken. Looks like he caught her. Nevada County Sheriff's Office on Wednesday, 10:50 a.m. A woman from 23,000 block of Hydraulic Way reported that a man threw a can of peaches at her before leaving the scene. 11:33 a.m. a caller from 17,000 block of Blue Tent School Road reported that a homeless person might have spent the night inside an unlocked residence and taken a comforter. Oh, I thought it was a car. Well, it could have been a residence. 1:33 p.m. a caller from Highway 20 and Harmony Ride Road reported a boulder in the road. 1:34 p.m. a caller from 18,000 block of Shasta Dam Way reported theft of Western Union funds. And 3:14 p.m. a caller from 14,000 block of Highway 174 reported a man might have left stolen property. 6:50 p.m. a caller from 10,000 block of Ball Road reported a fire. At 9:07 p.m. a caller from 12,000 block of Burma Road reported a man was trespassing, possibly in possession of a stolen vehicle. 11:25 p.m. caller from 14,000 block of Torrey Pines Drive reported people yelling and drinking at a party that involved juveniles. No juveniles were located. Everyone was okay. And Thursday, 3:34 a.m., caller from Highway 49 and Colby Road reported a man stole 18-pack of beer and left on foot. At 3:37 a.m., a woman from 23,000 block of Fagerly Road reported a man pushed and strangled her. He was arrested on suspicion of spousal abuse. At 4:18 a.m., a newspaper carrier reported a broken window at Lyman Gilmore School. At 6:40 a.m., an elderly man called to advise that a low-speed chase happened in Stockton could be stopped by shooting out the air hoses in the back of the truck. In Nevada City Police Department on Wednesday, 6:50 p.m., caller from Ridge Road and Zion Street reported someone possibly getting beat up inside a vehicle. It could not be located. And Thursday, 7:16 a.m., caller from Woods Court reported the theft of a black Ford Excursion. And that's it for the blotter today. Now, another thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. Christopher's Old World Deli and Catering Company has brought its delicious food and service downtown Grass Valley. Like desserts? They got 'em. You like international style lunches? They got 'em. Christopher's Deli and Catering for parties, get-togethers, weddings, or whatever. Open 7 days a week. In today's local news headlines, Grass Valley drug bust ends in 4 arrests. And driver in fatal crash jailed in connection with robbery. And woman arrested in credit card fraud case. Narcotic detectives looking for a Grass Valley man suspected of selling meth, heroin, and weapons ended up arresting 3 other people as well early Wednesday morning. Members of the Nevada County Sheriff's Narcotics Task Force had been investigating Samuel Taylor Wilson for about 6 months, said Sheriff Keith Royal. They went to his residence on the 100 block of Ophir Street after obtaining a search warrant, then waited for him to come home, which he did, driving in about 2 a.m. Detectives searched Wilson and reportedly found 11.5 grams of heroin, 6.5 grams of methamphetamine. They also found an airsoft handgun concealed in his waistband, as well as a meth pipe, Royal added. A search of Wilson's vehicle reportedly uncovered digital scales, 10 hydrocodone pills, and drug paraphernalia, and a .38 pistol. Wilson's passenger, identified as Seth Ryan Dettinger, 22, reportedly had also 10 hydrocodone pills and he was found to be under the influence. Detectives found 2 people inside Wilson's apartment: Heather Eileen Norton, 31, who had 5 outstanding warrants, and John Lamiso Suto, 31. They also found marijuana, drug paraphernalia, packaged hypodermic syringes, and a meth pipe inside the apartment. Norton was arrested on her warrants and was being held without bail. Soto was booked and released on suspicion of violating his probation. Dettinger was arrested on suspicion of possessing a controlled substance and being under the influence of a controlled substance and was being held in lieu of $11,000 bail. Wilson, 33, was booked on charges of possessing a controlled substance, transporting and possessing a controlled substance for sale, and possession of drug paraphernalia. He was being held in lieu of a $36,000 bail. Wilson is currently facing prosecution in Sacramento County on charges of possession of a controlled substance for sale, possession of a controlled substance while armed with a firearm, driving without a license, and carrying a concealed firearm. Charges are filed in November, and he is set to appear in court on Wednesday. I think it's next Wednesday. An 18-year-old man who was a driver in a fatal crash in early December in Indian Springs Road is in custody in Placer County Jail in connection with the strong-armed robbery. William Robert Hawkyard reportedly was in a store in a Crossings Drive in Rockland at about 10:15 p.m. January 21st when he attempted to conceal a bottle of alcohol in his jacket and leave, said Rockland Police Lieutenant Jamie Knox. A store security guard attempted to detain Hawkyard, who was with another man identified as Kenna Beck, 18, of Loomis. Hawkyard punched the guard in the face and fled. Knox said Beck was detained in the store and charged with burglary, criminal conspiracy, and possession of marijuana. Hawkyard reportedly got in a vehicle and fled onto Interstate 80. Rockland police officers saw the vehicle and they initiated pursuit after Hawkyard reportedly failed to yield to emergency lights and sirens. Pursuit was relatively short, just a couple of miles, Knox said. He eventually yielded, but he was driving more than 100 miles an hour on the freeway. Hawkyard was stopped after several Placer County Sheriff deputies joined the pursuit. He was taken into custody without further incident. Hawkyard was booked into jail on suspicion of robbery, burglary, criminal conspiracy, and evading a peace officer, and being held in lieu of $50,000 bail. Is set to appear in Placer County Superior Court. Investigation is not yet complete with the December 3rd crash that killed Hawkyard's passenger, Dakota Smith, said California Highway Patrol Officer Greg Tassoni. Hawkyard was driving a Mazda, a soft-top sedan, and was driving well in excess of 40 miles per hour speed limit when he lost control as he entered a 35-mile-an-hour curve and went off the edge of the road, striking several objects, including a utility pole. The vehicle overturned in its roof and rotated back across the roadway, causing major damage to the roof. Smith sustained major head injuries and was pronounced dead at the scene. Court records show that Hawkyard was cited twice in September for failing to stop at a red light for driving at an unsafe speed, 49 miles an hour in a 25-mile-an-hour zone. In our next story, a woman whose sister let her move in allegedly repaid her by taking out a number of credit cards in her name, said Nevada County Sheriff Keith Royal. Jamie Michelle McAlpin, 38, had moved in with her sister because she had no money and no place to stay. At some point, the sister reportedly noted that some of her mail was going missing. She then got a call from Citibank regarding recent activity on a credit card that she hadn't used in a long time, Royal said. She looked for it, but it was missing from her purse. The victim then got a call from Discover regarding an application for a credit card that had been made out in her name, as well as a call from American Express regarding a newly opened credit card in her name. Royal added, detectives were able to contact local businesses that had been at the sites of some of the new expenditures and reviewed video of those purchases and identified McAlpin as the suspect. McAlpin reportedly had used the cards at Kmart, Walmart, Best Buy, and among others, charging a little more than $1,000. She also reportedly attempted several $1,000s in charges that were declined, with at least one of those online at Overstock.com. McAlpin was arrested Wednesday at the residence at 16,000 block of Bush Road, booked into county jail on suspicion of second-degree burglary and unauthorized use of a credit card. She's being held in lieu of a $150,000 bail. Royal cautioned county residents to be proactive and keep track of their credit card statements, adding that missing statements should be a tip-off that something could be awry. Also in our local news is the pilot show of Pride, Integrity, Guts, and Service that has been released. With plenty of accolades from the masses, it seems that this show is going to be a great success. Grass Valley Television has joined with Nevada County Sheriff Keith Royal in an in-depth look at what law enforcement and other agencies locally help our community in times of need. This 30-minute show is hosted by Sheriff Keith Royal and Randy Hansen, and we hope you will put it on your watch list in the future. Due to the fact that NCTV has just moved downtown Grass Valley and technology has taken a big jump to the cloud and internet options, the exact times of the new series is still not exact. We do know that our prime time slot will be 8 p.m. on Mondays, and at this point maybe only the first week of each month, but we will try to do weekly shows. You can also go to YouTube, Facebook, Vimeo, and many other places and see these videos, and use the video on demand at NevadaCountyTV.org to watch whenever. If you have ideas of topics for the show, please send them to grassvalleytelevision@gmail.com, and we might be able to cover your topic. While I'm on the topic, it's good for the public to know that NCTV is settling into the new digs and seems to be ready for a new building of the future, with many producers involved for hands-on input to the running of the station. We hope that everyone chucks the egos and puts the community first. You deserve an outlet that is easy to access and to get involved in. Remember, it's you who makes it what it is. All producers, members, crews, board members, etc. are all from our community, in this county. Many thousands of hours have been spent for 20 years maintaining a platform for your free speech. You have a choice to keep this option open or watch canned input from lamestream media that many times does not give you the real truth. GVTV News, we are entering our 8th year. With the new options, might just step up in the news department with more and fresher news. Remember that we are on gvtv.org and grassvalleytelevision.com and YouTube. We have our own channel with over a dozen other mirrored websites, blogs that you can reach us on smartphones, tablets, laptops when you're on the go. If you have an interest in supporting the only visual video news media in Nevada County, you can underwrite us and get 30-second mentions monthly on all our outlets. Right now we have a New Year's special. If you sign up before April 1st, 2014, we're offering these mentions for $100 per month. We come to your business and videotape your promo for free, and you can use it on your own website to help, and we can help you embed it on there at no additional cost to you. We appreciate all the support and will always be your video, local news, and world news voice. Thanks for watching, and talk to you tomorrow.